Hey there, welcome to today's video. What is a spending plan? A spending plan gets looked over by a lot of people, but it is something that can help us achieve our financial goals and make our lives a lot easier. So in today's video, I'm going to discuss how we can set up our spending plan. I'm going to share my own spending plan template and how I used that to become a millionaire. So let's dive right in. All right, let's talk about what a spending plan really is, because a lot of people think it is just a budget and you are just tracking your finances, but there's a little more to it than that. And I'm going to talk about the benefits of using a spending plan. I'm going to share my own spending plan template. Plus, I'm going to share how you can get a copy of my spending plan template. All right, so what is a spending plan? It is also known as a budget, but I feel like when people talk about their budgets, they're just entering in their income and their expenses and seeing where they are financially. But with a spending plan, it's more about planning out where you're going to spend your money. And we can also focus on where we want to be spending our money. So it's not just tracking, but it's actually making progress. So the first benefit that I want to mention of a spending plan is that it really does help us reach our financial goals. When I am setting up my own spending plan, I have a line item in my spending plan for my financial goal, whatever it is that I'm working toward. For example, if I'm saving up for a down payment on a property, maybe I need to have $30,000 saved up. So I will enter that in my spending plan so that I am actually putting money toward the down payment for the property I want to purchase. If I didn't add that to my spending plan, then it's not really going to be on my mind, and I won't actually put money toward that financial goal. So I really like including that in my spending plan. That is one of my best tips. So instead of just listing out all of your bills and paying your bills first and then not having anything left over to put toward your financial goal is the first thing you're going to put in your spending plan and allocate a certain amount to that goal. And it can be any goal that you're working toward. Maybe you just need to build up your emergency fund right now. So that can be your line item in your spending plan. Or if you want to take a trip to Italy, that can be your line item in your spending plan. But we want to make sure that we are adding our goals to our spending plan so that we actually can achieve our financial goals. And then also, when we have all of our other expenses listed out in our spending plan and our income, we can really decide, okay, where can I allocate some of this money and put it toward my financial goal? But if we don't have that picture of where we are with our finances, everywhere that we are spending our money and exactly how much money is coming in, then we're not going to be able to make changes and allocate money toward our financial goals. And then the second benefit of having a spending plan is that it really gives us control over our money instead of having our money control us. Because when we can see exactly where we are spending our money, what expenses we have, it helps us to not overspend our money. It helps us to know exactly how much is coming in, how much is going out, and where it's going out to. And that way we can make adjustments. We have the control. We're not just saying, oh, where did all of my money go this month? We can actually say, oh, I know exactly where it went. And then we can make changes and make progress. And then the third benefit of having a spending plan is that it really reduces our financial stress. If we are never looking at our money, if we don't know where we are spending our money, that is going to cause a lot of stress and anxiety. But if we actually take a look at our finances, then we can decide, okay, I'm spending too much money here, or I need to be spending more money over here, or I need to be making more money. But if we never take a look, then we are never going to know. And going back to benefit number one, we are never going to achieve our financial goals. And maybe we don't even set financial goals because we aren't even looking at our money. We don't even know how much we could put toward a down payment or toward a trip to Paris. So it's important that we are tracking our money, because what gets tracked gets measured and gets improved. Those are just 3 benefits that I want to share of having a spending plan. But comment below and tell me one benefit you have seen by having a spending plan. And now I want to share my own spending plan template with you and then go over how I actually use this and how it helped me become a millionaire. Okay, so I have pulled up my spending plan template here. And I want to show you. So at the top, I have my income. We want to know exactly how much money is coming in and the different sources that we have. So I've just created a template here. These aren't actual numbers or actual expenses, but I have listed in here paycheck, extra income, interest income, rental income. So you would just enter in all of your different types of income. And then I have over here in column B, you can see it's the monthly expected. So how much are we expecting to come in each month? We would just enter that amount. And then over here in column C, this is a formula. That's why it's in gray. So I've just multiplied our monthly expected, the $4,000 for paycheck, and I've multiplied that by the number 12 so we can see exactly how much we are expecting every single year. And then I also broke it down by percentage. So you can see the yearly expected from our paycheck is going to be 87%. So that would be the majority of our income. And then I have in column E, the actual total dollar amount. So that's the actual amount that we received in the income. And this column is actually pulled from the other columns or the other tabs in the Google Sheet. So you can see at the bottom, I have yearly overview. That's the tab we're looking at right now. And then I have all of the months listed out. And I'm going to get into this in just a second. But you can see if we click on January, you can see I have all of the transactions. So all of the income that came in and all of the expenses that went out. And I have the amounts listed. And then I have a formula over here in column G. So this formula pulls from the category description, the category that I have listed in the yearly overview. And so it automatically populates when I enter in the amounts on each monthly tab. So the thing with my spending plan is I'm not writing down every time I have a payment that comes in or an expense that goes out, because I'm combining my spending plan with Empower, which is a free app. I've mentioned it before. It used to be called Personal Capital, but I've combined my spending plan Google Sheet with Empower. So I have all of my financial accounts linked to Empower. I have all of my credit cards in there. I have my mortgage listed in there. I have my checking, my savings, my Roth IRA, all of my brokerage accounts, things like that. So it's all hooked to Empower. And then I just export all of those transactions to my spending plan. And I make sure that my categories match up with what I have in my spending plan. And I'll talk about that more in just a moment. But if they all match up, then they are going to automatically populate when I export all of the transactions from Empower to my spending plan. It's going to populate those numbers. And then I don't have to write down every single expense that I have made throughout the month. I just export the transactions from Empower. I have my formula in my spending plan and it populates it for me. And of course, if you wanted to just write down your expenses instead of using Empower or another free app, you can definitely do that. You can just input them directly into the Google Sheet. I just like having it a little more automated. And then going back to the spending plan, so you can see that I have in column F, I just did a percentage so we could see the actual total. So if we thought we were getting 87% over here in the yearly expected from our paycheck, but we actually only got 79 or 76.9% from our paycheck, then we could see, okay, well, did I not work enough hours, or why is there a discrepancy there? And do I need to adjust my monthly expected amount? And then the next column is the difference in the actual and the expected, and that's the percentage. So this is showing a 4.17% difference. And then I have all of my months listed out over here. So these amounts are coming from the other tabs, from all of the monthly tabs, once I enter in all of those expenses. And then if we move down, we have our total income. So I've just totaled all of these rows right here and did a total so I would know exactly how much I have in income every single month. And then if we move down, we can look at the expenses. So as you can see, I have right here listed goal number 1. Whatever that goal is, you want to put that into your spending plan so you're actually working towards something. You're not just spending money and not making any progress and not feeling like you're achieving anything with your money. And then I even put goal number 2, so you can have 2 goals that you're working on, how many ever you want. I wouldn't overwhelm yourself, but sometimes there are goals that you want to work on at the same time. And then I just have listed out different categories of expenses. We don't want to put down every single expense. We want to categorize them. For example, if you are eating out at different restaurants, you don't want to have a Chick-fil-A expense category and a Chipotle expense category, unless that's the majority of where you're eating out. But you could just say eating out, and then every time you eat out at any restaurant, you would just put it under eating out. So of course you can make your own list of expenses, whatever works best for you. I just have some example expenses in here. And then if we scroll down further, after we get done with all of our expenses, I have a row for total expenses, so that we can see exactly how much we are spending every single month. And then I have another row for net income, which is our total income minus our total expenses. Ideally, we would like this number to be 0. We want to allocate all of the income that is coming in. And if you do have extra money in that net income, depending on what your goals are, you could definitely put any extra money toward investing. Or if you still need to build up your emergency fund, then you could put your extra money toward that. But essentially we want to zero out that number, that net income. And then if we scroll down a little bit further, I added a net worth down here. So our net worth is our assets minus our liabilities. And I talk about this in another video. So if you are curious about how to figure out your net worth and what it really is, I'll leave a link to that above. You can check it out later on. But I thought it would be nice to have this in my spending plan template. That way I can track my net worth along with my income and my expenses. So going back to the spending plan, if we click on these tabs over here, let's look at January. And then you can see over here, this is my net worth tracker. So you can also enter in all of your assets that you have, the value for each of those, and then all of your liabilities and the amounts for each of those, and then you can track your net worth. So you can update this every single month when you are updating your spending plan. And if you do want a copy of my spending plan template, just comment below the video and let me know, and I will give you a link to it. And when you have your spending plan set up and you are updating it every single month, it is going to drastically improve your financial situation. At least that is how it has been for me. And honestly, it did help me become a millionaire because I was aware of where I was spending money. I was aware of my financial goals and what I wanted to be working towards. And once you do have your spending plan set up and you have extra money in there to invest, if you want my help on investing, I have a free masterclass on how I can help you invest in the stock market. I will leave a link below. You can click on that and check out the free masterclass. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button and share it with someone else who would like to hear this information, and hit the subscribe button to subscribe to my YouTube channel and to the little bell to get notified on when I post new videos. And if you want to see even more awesome content from me, make sure and check out the videos on the side of the screen. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.